Psychology of people who cry easily. Hook. Some people cry at a commercial about a lost dog. Some people tear up when a stranger shows unexpected kindness. Some people feel their eyes fill with water during a song, not because they're sad, but because something in that melody touched something deep inside them that they can't even explain. And for years, they've been told the same thing. You're too sensitive. Stop being so emotional. Why do you cry over everything? But here's what nobody tells them, and what psychology is only beginning to fully understand. The people who cry easily are not weak. They are wired differently. And that difference? It's not a flaw. It might be one of the most powerful psychological traits a human being can carry. Emotional introduction. If you cry easily, there's a good chance you've spent a significant part of your life feeling embarrassed about it. Maybe you've cried at work and immediately apologized. Maybe you've excused yourself from a room so nobody would see you. Maybe you've whispered to yourself, "Why am I like this?" And that question, "Why am I like this?" deserves a real answer. Not a dismissal. Not a label. A real, honest, psychological answer. Because what's happening inside you is far more complex and far more beautiful than anyone ever bothered to explain. Today, we're going to change that. Psychological explanation. Psychology has a term for people who feel emotions more intensely than others. It's called high emotional sensitivity. And research suggests that highly sensitive people, or HSPs, make up roughly 15 to 20% of the population. That means if you're sitting in a room of 10 people, maybe 2 of them feel the world the way you do. 2 out of 10. That's not common. That's rare. And like most rare things, it's misunderstood. The tears you cry aren't a sign that something is broken inside you. They're a signal. A sign that your emotional nervous system is alive, responsive, and deeply engaged with the world around you. But there's more to this than just sensitivity. Let's go deeper. Sign number 1, you process emotions at a deeper level than most people. Most people feel emotions on the surface. Something happens. They react. They move on. But people who cry easily don't work like that. Psychology suggests they process emotional experiences on a much deeper neurological level. The brain of a highly sensitive person shows greater activity in the areas responsible for empathy, awareness, and emotional processing. This means when you feel something, you really feel it. You don't just notice that a moment is beautiful. You're moved by it. You don't just recognize that someone is hurting. You feel their pain as if it's your own. And sometimes the emotion becomes so full inside you, so genuinely overwhelming, that it needs somewhere to go. That somewhere is tears. Think about it this way. Your emotions aren't overflowing because you're weak. They're overflowing because you're full. Full of feeling. Full of awareness. Full of life. Sign number 2, you have an unusually high level of empathy. Here's something that might surprise you. Studies in neuroscience have found that people who cry easily often have a highly active mirror neuron system. Mirror neurons are the part of your brain that allows you to feel what others feel. When you watch someone fall, you flinch. When you watch someone cry, your own eyes fill up. When someone shares a story of loss, even a stranger on a screen, something inside you responds as if it happened to you. Most people don't realize this is a neurological gift, not an emotional weakness. Empathy at this level means you're deeply connected to the human experience. You understand people intuitively. You sense things about a room, a relationship, or a moment that others completely miss. The hidden reason you cry so easily is that you're one of the most emotionally intelligent people in any space you occupy. You just weren't told that. Sign number 3, you've probably carried emotional weight that was never yours to carry. This is where things become interesting. Many people who cry easily didn't just develop this sensitivity. They grew it, often in response to their environment. Psychology suggests that children who grew up in emotionally unpredictable households, where they had to carefully read the room to feel safe, often develop hypervigilance to emotion. They became deeply attuned to the feelings of the people around them. And somewhere along the way, they also started absorbing those feelings. The anxiety of a parent. The sadness of a sibling. The tension between two people who never spoke about what was really wrong. If you cry easily, ask yourself this. How much of your emotional world belongs to other people? Deep down, many sensitive criers are not just feeling their own pain. They're carrying everyone else's too, silently, invisibly, without anyone ever realizing or saying thank you. Sign number 4, your tears are often about something much older than the moment. Have you ever cried about something small, and then realized, mid-cry, that it wasn't really about that at all? That's not confusion. That's emotional memory. The human subconscious stores pain the way a library stores books. Organized, layered, waiting. And sometimes a song, a scene, a sentence, something that shouldn't hit this hard, walks into that library and pulls out something that's been waiting on the shelf for years. What many people fail to understand is that the tears you cry in small moments are often the release of feelings you never had permission to feel before. Maybe you were told not to cry as a child. Maybe you cried and no one came. Maybe you felt things deeply but learned very quickly that the world didn't have much patience for it. So you stored it. And stored it. And stored it. Until one small, ordinary moment opened the door. Sign number 5, you are more self-aware than you give yourself credit for. Most people who cry easily are also deeply self-reflective. They don't just experience life. They examine it. They think about why they feel the way they feel. They question their reactions. They wonder about the meaning behind what they experience. Psychology suggests that this kind of self-awareness is a marker of emotional intelligence, one of the most valuable forms of intelligence that exists. And here's the quiet truth that so few people acknowledge. The same emotional depth that makes you cry at a commercial also makes you the most loyal friend someone could have. It makes you a better parent, a more compassionate partner, a more thoughtful human being. Your sensitivity is not separate from your strength. It is your strength. Deep reflection section. Take a moment and think about how many times you've apologized for your emotions. How many times you've hidden in a bathroom to compose yourself. How many times you've called yourself too much. Now think about this. What if you were never too much? What if the world just wasn't ready to hold someone as feeling as you? Psychology doesn't see your tears as a disorder. It sees them as data. Information about how deeply you are engaged with the human experience, with beauty, with pain, with connection, with meaning. The people who cry easily are often the same people who feel the most joy. Who love the most deeply. Who notice things that others walk right past. They are the artists. The healers. The ones friends call at 2 a.m. They are the people who make the world feel less cold. Powerful conclusion. If nobody has ever told you this, let me be the one to say it. Your tears are not a weakness to fix. They are a window into a depth of feeling that most people will spend their entire lives searching for and never find. You were not built for the surface of life. You were built for the depth of it. And that is not something to be ashamed of. That is something to understand, to protect, and, finally, to be at peace with. Soft call to action. If any part of this felt like someone was finally putting words to something you've always known but couldn't explain, you're not alone. Drop a comment below and tell us, what's one thing you've cried about that you could never explain to someone else? And if you believe in the power of understanding yourself more deeply, consider subscribing. Every week, we explore the psychology behind the way you think, feel, and experience the world, because you deserve to finally understand yourself.